All right. Welcome to the show. This is the Frankly Fantasy Football Podcast. We are your hosts, Frankie and Johnny. Welcome in, Frankie.
Well, hello.
Let's have a little discussion today, shall we? Let's do our starts and sits for week 4. What do you feel about that?
Love
Smash
it.
or pass?
I want to smash it, baby.
You want to smash it? The other thing I like to do is I like to hit it and quit it because I'm that kind of guy.
I want you to hit it.
I just want to play the full song.
I know, so bad.
I hate that it's so short. Oh, see, I'll play it again. Right
Play
there.
it again.
Just loop that shit. Yeah. Hit it and quit it. All right, Frankie, let's hit it and quit it. Who are you hitting on the first guy here? Who you hitting, baby?
John, I'm hitting Tank Dell, baby. He is playing against that of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Just kidding. The Steelers. And the reason why Tank Dell, John, to
Real
me.
quick, can I say something? You made me think of something.
Please.
You know, the Washington Redskins got their name canceled. They had to change it.
Yeah.
And you sent me something today that showed me that the Native American League put a petition in or is suing the Redskins.
Suing the Commanders or Redskins for changing the name. This is what I was talking with you about earlier in the year. There was a massive petition done that basically said, like, it was signed by many, many Native Americans that ended up saying that it's racist for them to cancel out the Native Americans. And so this is like, what are we talking about? So now they're suing I forget the association. It's the Native American Association or whatever it is suing the Commanders for not having the name the Redskins. And so now the Commanders might actually be coming back out in the next year or two as the Redskins once more. So very interesting.
It is interesting. They said that the symbol on the helmet, the actual Native American that was there, is a real person and was like a badass. And honored the team having that on the helmet. So it was really, they could have changed the name to where it wasn't Redskins. Yes, Redskins. It sounds bad. It's
could have a negative connotation with that for sure.
100%. But they could have kept the logo and they could have gone with something that honors Native Americans, you know?
Like the Indians for the Cleveland Indians, like, nope, can't do that. We had to change that name too. Sorry.
No, can't do that.
Sorry, it went Guardians.
Yeah. All right.
We digress.
I digress. Carry on, Frank.
So Tank Dell, guys, I'm firing him up. I'm smashing this.
I'm going to interrupt you again since we're talking about
it. Fucking asshole.
Also, we canceled Redskins and we canceled Indians, but Pirates are okay.
Blackhawks.
You know what Pirates do, right? They rape a lot. That's what they do. They rape. Native Americans don't rape. They're Native Americans.
Yeah.
Pirates rape. Just saying. All right.
That's
Pirates,
interesting.
Buccaneers, talking about you guys.
Wow. That's a really interesting take there, John.
That's get on my social.
Pirates rape and Native Americans don't, guys. We're bringing it back.
That's what I'm saying. It's about priorities, guys. Come on, let's cancel the right things here. Jesus. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Frankie. Tank Dell. Wide receiver for the Houston Texans. Give it to me.
He's playing against Pittsburgh right now. And over the last few weeks, he's absolutely dominated working alongside of that and Nico Collins. And John, I mentioned it earlier this week on the previous episode. He ended up having 5 receptions on 7 targets for 145 yards and a touchdown against the Jacksonville Jags at the Jags. And then the week before against the Colts, he had 72 yards receiving on 7 receptions, John. So now we're talking, okay, this guy now has 12 receptions in the last 2 games, and he's accumulated over 200 yards and over 2 touchdowns. This is somebody that's legit. And the way CJ Stroud is throwing the ball, man, I'm on board with Tank Dell. And I mentioned it earlier this week. I'm going to mention it again now. I am starting him over Johan Dotson this week in my double flex 14-man league.
Yeah, over Drake London.
I'm starting him over Drake London. And I know that's crazy to say. I get it. I know it's insane to say, but right now with Desmond Ridder, that's not the route they're going. It's the offense is running through Bijan and Tyler Algier, and it is what it is at this point in time.
All right. So if Tank Dell was, well, I guess he's not going to be on your waiver wire now, but how much would you have paid for him, Frank?
Before this past week or after this week? Or coming up on week 4?
Going into this week, yeah. The waivers that just ran.
I would have ended up paying, John, probably upper 20s is what I would have gone for Tank Dell. What do you think?
Okay. Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, it depends on your roster and what you need at the time, but you need a Mike Williams replacement. Tank Dell's perfect for that. Yeah, you can definitely plug him in. All right, cool. Who else you got on your list here, Frankie? Who else are we starting?
John, I'm going to fire up Gabe Davis, baby. Gabe Davis with the Buffalo Bills being right alongside there of Stephon Diggs. Again, he is definitely boom or bust guy, but I'm feeling a boom here. And the reason being is because they have Miami at home. What have we seen from Miami? They can put up some fucking points. Okay. Not just the 70 that they put up this past week. They're in the 30s and the high 20s and the low 40s every damn week. And so for me, man, this is a game script decision on my perspective. Over the last 2 games alone, Gabe Davis now has a combined 28 fantasy points in the last 2 games in half PPR. Week 2 against the Vegas Raiders, he had 92 receiving yards, 6 receptions, and a touchdown. And John, this past week at Washington, he had 35 yards on 1 reception. And I understand what I'm saying. He had 1 reception for 35 yards, but he also had a touchdown. That is what I like. I like the ability. He's totally boom bust. I'm rolling with boom this week against that of Miami.
All right. I love that. All right. Who else we got here, buddy?
John, we're going to bring out.
Are you kidding?
Firing him up. You fire this dude up. John hates it. I love it. I like old man Winters over there in Carolina with Adam Thielen, baby. Fire his ass up. I was pumped about it earlier this week, and I'm even more pumped about it now heading into the weekend. Guys, Adam Thielen is playing against his old team. Tell me that this dude isn't primed to have a game. Dude, revenge game. Absolutely, John. And guys, just as a reminder, I know we hit on it last week, but Adam Thielen, by the way, is the number 9 receiver on the year in half PPR so far. He had last game alone, he had 14 targets, 11 receptions, 145 yards and a touchdown. Oh, the week prior, what did he have? I'm glad you asked. He had 7 receptions, 54 yards in a touchdown. He's had back-to-back weeks with touchdowns. It doesn't matter who's at quarterback right now because he's a cozy old man blanket that you throw over when you're freezing your ass off, and especially heading into Minnesota where it's going to be nice and chilly, even in a dome, you're going to have that nice cozy blanket. That is why, John, I am high as shit on Adam Thielen this week.
I hate to say it. I don't like Adam Thielen. I didn't like him coming in. I hate to say it, but I will change my mind when I'm presented with other information. And yes, he is getting targeted enough here. After week 1, the past 2 weeks, you're right, 9 targets, 14 targets. It's fantastic. You have to stay in the flames with that. And you look at his matchups coming up: Minnesota,
Gold.
Detroit, Miami.
Gold.
I can't even believe I'm saying that Adam Thielen needs to be started in the next 3 weeks.
What did you say? Can you repeat that one more time for those listening and watching? I just want to hear you say it.
Adam Thielen should be started in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Give me an oh, yeah. Give me an oh, yeah.
Give me an oh, yeah. John, number four guy we're smashing this week is going to be Courtland Sutton. Guys, the reason being is because I expect a massive game, a massive comeback game from the Broncos. They're playing at Chicago. Chicago is a dumpster fire. Their defense is terrible. Their offense can't do shit. So right now, I love the Courtland Sutton play. Russell Wilson has actually been playing pretty damn decent. And when you look at what Courtland Sutton has done, guys, last week alone, against Miami, with them even getting just absolutely decimated, he had 91 receiving yards. Yes, he fumbled twice, but he also had 8 receptions, for a touchdown. Then you look at the week against Washington. He had 5 receptions on 66 yards. And then you look at week 1 with the Raiders. He had 4 receptions for 32 yards and a touchdown. That's 2 touchdowns in the last 3 weeks, guys. And again, when you look at the Chicago defense, this should absolutely be an ass beating. This should be, Denver's so pissed. Sean Payton is so pissed that they are just going to run the score up on the Chicago team. So for me, man, I love the floor of Courtland Sutton here. That is why I'm firing him up.
I like that. Even with Jerry Judy back, Courtland Sutton, he's the guy in the back of the end zone that they're going to find for a toe tap there. Yeah, John, I agree. I like it.
I think Jerry Judy, man, could be primed to get traded here pretty soon. If something were to happen to this Broncos team in the next 2 weeks, if they were to drop another big game like they did against, not to the degree of Miami, but even half of that degree, let's just say it's 35 points instead of 70. Let's go half. Okay. I think that it could actually blow up this team. And I think Jerry Judy could certainly be a guy that's on that trade block. So, which means Courtland Sutton could be the number 1 guy from here on out. So just remember that I said this, and I think that this could be very interesting moving forward.
Well, all right, let's look at that and let's predict that here. We've got at Chicago. They're not going to get boat raced against Chicago.
Nope.
At home against the Jets, little fucking Mormon kid is not going to be.
The defense is stingy points for the Jets. It could be tough sledding for the offense.
Yeah, definitely. Then they've got Kansas City 2 times in the next 3 weeks. Kansas City, Green Bay, Kansas City. I could see Kansas City torching these guys 2 weeks, almost in a row there before their bye. There could be some decisions during their bye. Yeah, I don't hate that. That's not a bad take.
Interesting. So, John, we got number 5, Tutu Atwell. Yes, I'm saying start this dude up. Are you crazy? People are going to literally come at me again on here and saying, you're out of your mind. This Frank dude's a nut job. Goddamn right I am, but I'm good at fantasy football.
That usually has nothing to do with what you say on the podcast. They just look at you and say, this guy, whoa, what's going on with this guy?
Definitely. John, the reason why I love Tutu Atwell is not because he's balling, is strictly because listen to what I'm about. He's the number 12 receiver on the year. Tutu Atwell so far is dominating. Guys, last week against Cincinnati, he had 9 targets, caught 4 of them for 50 yards and a touchdown. Against San Francisco, he ended up having 7 receptions and 77 yards. And then you go back to week 1, he had 119 yards receiving on 6 receptions. Guys, what I'm saying is this is not a fluke. If you watch the game against the Bengals, they got this dude into open space, not just by getting him the ball from a receiving perspective. They did a couple jet sweeps and he almost scored. He should have scored on the one. And so for me, man, the way they're utilizing this team and some of these receivers, you see Puka Nacua going nuts. Tutu Atwell, they offloaded Cam Akers and rolling with Kyron Williams. This is all without Cooper Kupp. Matt Stafford is absolutely reconfiguring this offense a bit alongside of Sean McVay. And I think Tutu Atwell could absolutely be that number 3 receiver, certainly number 2 right now, even when Cooper Kupp comes back. So I love him against Indy at Indy this week. Fire him up. Smash it, baby.
I do too. And he's just been the pillar of consistency. 8 targets, 9 targets, 9 targets, 16 points, 12 points, 15 points. It's very, very consistent. And that's very difficult to find. And his name's Tutu. I mean, can we just start there? Yeah. I want a guy named Puka Nacua on my team. I want a guy named Tutu on my team.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, right? Do we need to bring out the Moana soundtrack? We already talked about this once, John. With
I think
Puka.
You could do Tutu as well. Yeah, Tutu's like the little chicken on the raft.
Oh my God, is that actually might be his name? Something close. That's brilliant.
What was the chicken's name?
I can't remember. I'll have to ask my 4-year-old. She'll know.
All right. Well, all right. Next time we're gonna have a guest on the podcast.
Well,
call him Tutu.
We'll just do it. John, the next start here, this one is interesting. This is the last one that we're going to talk about today. Javonte Williams. Now, this is risky, guys. But the reason why I'm saying smash the hell out of this is because if you are not starting him now, you do not deserve to start him any other week. They're playing at Chicago, right? We already talked about Courtland Sutton. I'm talking about Javonte Williams. Guys, it has been super tough sledding for Javonte this year, right? We're talking he has not eclipsed double-digit fantasy numbers in half PPR at all yet. He also really hasn't even had over 65, or he hasn't even had, John, excuse me, he hasn't even had over 60 yards rushing this year yet. So it has not been very good. He had 7.5 points in half PPR this past week. He had 42 rushing yards. He had 2 receptions this past week. He also had the previous week, he had 44 rushing yards. And in week 1, he had 52. So he hasn't even eclipsed 55 rushing yards. But John, this is the week against an abysmal defense. If not now, when? Put him in, get him in your flex, and feel really good about it, because I see this game being a Javonte Williams game.
I like that a lot, actually. And I mean, he's been getting about 15 touches, 12 to 14 rushes and a handful of targets, about 15 touches a game. Now, he gets those 15 touches in the game against Chicago. Those touches are going to be valuable touches. Definitely. So I really do like that. He's been very consistent. It just hasn't been great. He hasn't gotten in the end zone. That's definitely hurt. They got absolutely destroyed last week. The fact that he even had 15 touches last week is crazy. Shocking. Yeah. And they're not using Samaje Perine. They're not using him that much. He's in for pass protection. He'll get some targets out of the backfield, but they're not really running him that much. It is Javonte Williams, getting those valuable running back touches. So you're right. This is the week for that against the Chicago Bears in Chicago. Fire them up. I absolutely love it, man.
John, quick question for you. Worst team in the NFL. Who is it? Is it the Bears? We would have said the Cardinals, but they just upset them. I mean, Cardinals look damn good 2 weeks in a row. They should have beat Giants, and they they just beat Dallas Cowboys. So my question is Chicago really the worst team in the NFL right now?
I think based on the amount of work they need to do to right the ship, they might be. Yeah. They might be, and it's not because of talent. There's just clearly an issue.
Not because of talent.
There's clearly an issue. I don't know if it's coaching. I don't know if it's just like we talked about with Deshaun Watson on the last episode, trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. Maybe they need a whisperer to Justin Fields, a coach to step in and really.
Ryan Day. What if Ryan Day, and again, you get Buckeyes, hold on here for a second.
Look at you. It's week 3 and you're already hiring Ryan Day for the Chicago Bears.
What happens if Ryan Day, God forbid, Lord Jesus, don't let this happen. And we trust me, I've already gotten called out by a few Michigan fans, so it's okay. Right? What happens if they lose to Michigan this year? The Chicago Bears stay on the same path as what they will all year long. Ryan Day got the best out of that of Justin Fields in college. He put together a beautiful offense, and the offense they have here, they have excellent weapons. So I get it. It's super out there. It's super far left field. But what if there's another coach out there that is similar to Ryan Day that they were able to bring in? That's all I'm saying. There could absolutely be a coaching change coming down the pike here if Chicago Bears continue to do what they've been doing.
It's true. I mean, Chicago could have a couple of picks in the draft next year, in the 2024 draft, and a couple of picks in the first round early, top 5 potentially. It'd be a great time to bring him in. Wow, I can't believe that. That's a hot take. Can't believe you're talking about Ryan Day taking the job in Chicago after week 3.
I'm just saying, and the reason, so for those listening, there's viable reason why I say that is because there were rumors heading into this year for Ohio State that this could potentially be Ryan Day's last season, depending how this ends up, performing or how they perform, things like that. Excuse me. And Mike Vrabel was interested, and there was interest there for him to leave that of the Tennessee Titans. And so now it started spewing into this rumor that, well, if Ryan Day left and went to the NFL, because NFL teams have already expressed interest in him, Mike Vrabel then backfills that into where what he had previously considered to be his dream job. So it's I get it. It sounds ridiculous, but there's a reason why I'm saying the things that I'm saying. It's not just me pulling shit out of my ass, you know what I mean, and throwing it out in the air. I think it's extremely far-fetched. I don't think in reality it will happen because I think that Ohio State's going to beat Michigan. Probably not, but yeah, I think so. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. We'll leave it at that. It's a super hot take, and I agree with you.
Hot takes by Frankie. All right.
Hot takes by Frankie.
That, man. All right. Who are you sitting this week? Who do you not like this week?
I'm passing on all of the Baltimore Ravens running backs. All of them. Every single one of them. Sit them on the bench. They are playing at the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns are not the Browns of the old. This defense is nasty. This defense is swarming. We saw what they did against that of Joe Mixon. We saw what they did at week 2. We saw against that of Najee and Jalen and Warren. And now we saw what they did to Derrick Henry. They are for real. If I can give you any piece of advice that you actually listen, please do not start any of the running backs for that in Baltimore, and you'll thank us later.
Yeah, Gus Edwards is in concussion protocol, definitely questionable. Melvin Gordon, Justice Hill, they're going to work them all in. When you've got a carousel and you're playing against a really good defense, which it is established now that they're very good defense, very good rushing defense, especially. You can't start those guys. It's not like it's one guy. He's going to get his 20 touches. It's not even going to be close to that. Yeah. I agree with you. Sit those guys.
John, I'm going to stay down the same path here, and you ain't going to like it, buddy. I know you got him. I know a few people got him, and trust me, I was high on him going into this year. I think he's going to be good, but not this week. I'm going to sit and pass and quit on Lamar Jackson against that of the Cleveland Browns. Guys, we are seeing what the Browns are doing from a defensive perspective, from a coverage standpoint. Outside of one broken play, they have completely decimated every single quarterback they went against. That includes Joe Burrow, Kenny Pickett, and Ryan Tannehill. Now, I get it. We played Joe Burrow when he was hurt and the weather was shit. Okay, fair enough. Kenny Pickett looked like dog shit. Okay, fair enough. Ryan Tannehill, bottom third quarterback in the NFL, fine. I'll give that to you. Lamar Jackson, way better than all of them, including that of Joe Burrow because he's hurt, right? So let's just make sure we factor that in. I still think this is a really tough start. You might have to start him. There might be shit on your waiver, and you just got to pray for him from a rushing perspective to make something happen. But I'm telling you, man, the Browns have this dude's number this year, and I just don't see it. I don't see that this being a good start for your fantasy team.
Lamar Jackson at Cleveland or Matthew Stafford at Indy?
I'm going Matthew Stafford at Indy.
What about Justin Fields at home versus Denver?
I'm going to go Lamar Jackson.
All right.
I'm going to go Lamar. There's that tier.
I had to find where you were here, man.
That's the tier.
What about CJ Stroud at home against Pittsburgh?
Man, I'm fucking crazy. I'm leaning CJ Stroud, but I don't know if I would even have the balls to actually to do that. And I say that because the game script, I could see being very positive for the Houston Texans, and there's no stigma with CJ Stroud, right? He's expected to play average. And if he plays better than average, it's phenomenal. Compared to Lamar is expected to play at an MVP caliber, and he's not. And that's the difference. So it's like a lot less pressure you having to put in CJ Stroud, like CJ Stroud actually playing and doing well. But there's a lot more stress from a fantasy perspective to where you're actually saying you're going to bench Lamar Jackson for CJ Stroud. Is that getting too cute? For me, man, that's super hard, John.
It's not that big.
I would probably just have to go Lamar, and it's just because I can't take. I think I'm crazy. I think that would be crazy. But it's, let me put it like this: I wouldn't be surprised if CJ Stroud outperforms Lamar Jackson this week.
All right, what about this one? Last one here: Lamar Jackson at Cleveland or Jameis Winston at home against Tampa Bay?
Oh man, It's so hard. And the reason why this is so hard is because this is also a massive revenge game for that of Jameis. This could be a game to where Jameis throws for 300 yards and he's going against another, number one quarterback overall in Baker Mayfield. There's a lot of emotion here. Or we could see Jameis Winston having a stat line of 211 yards, 2 interceptions, 2 touchdowns, and that's what it is. But Lamar could end up having 190 yards passing, 50 yards rushing, 2 interceptions, and nothing. And so, man, that is so hard. I would probably still have to go Lamar. Just because it's fucking Lamar.
Yeah.
I don't like it, though. That's tough. And I'm actually still actually torn a little bit on the CJ Stroud, if I'm being honest with you. That one to me is way closer. It's tough. I would need to think that one through. I'm leaning Lamar now, but come game time, man, I don't know. That could be something weird.
It's a whole different. It's one thing us looking at the numbers and making decisions. When you're looking at it on your phone, on the Sleeper app, to push that button, how big are your balls to push that button?
Huge.
It's tough.
I'll tell you what, I'll do it in DFS. I'll do it in DFS.
There you go.
Okay.
There you go. Yeah.
John.
All right. Who else you got, Frank? Who else is sitting down?
For next sitting down, I'm going to sit him, is Joshua Kelly. Joshua Kelly, this is a guy that we have seen now for multiple weeks in a row. And John, I'm just not on the Joshua Kelly train. I think that we mentioned it earlier this week. He rode the coattails of Austin Eckler. The defense backed way off. On top of it, they were playing Miami, so the game script was really nice for them. Going and playing Vegas, it is a good matchup. But even with that matchup, I still do not like Joshua Kelly. I just don't think it's there. So for me, I would be sitting Joshua Kelly this week.
Agreed.
And John, the last guy, it's going to make you smile. It's going to make you smile a little bit. And for those listening, you're probably going to smile a little bit too. I'm sitting Kadarius Toney this week at the New York Jets. Again, the Jets have a damn good defense, even with the shit-stained quarterback that they have right now. And I think with Kadarius Toney being matched up against that of probably Sauce Gardner, it's a nightmare matchup for him. And so for me, man, I think that there's other options out there. If you're even looking at a Sky Moore, I'd probably lean that or something else, or just Tutu Atwell or even Adam Thielen. Definitely one of those guys over that of Kadarius Toney this week and probably the coming weeks unless we see something different. So sitting down Kadarius Toney.
Yeah, there's guys on the waiver wire. There's guys that you didn't draft that were picked up in the past. Tutu Atwell, Tank Dell. There's no question. Yeah, Kadarius. Listen, I don't hate the guy.
No,
I don't have any personal vendettas against anyone. I just look at the numbers. I don't like the risk of a big fat goose egg every single week because there's a risk. Yes, Huge. He might be able to do something cool. He might catch a really cool touchdown, or you might do an end around or just some crazy shit. But I don't like that on my team. I want to see consistency. I want to see targets and opportunity. You just never know what they're going to write him into, what role they're going to put him into any given week. All right, man. Anything else you want to mention here with the starts and sits, smash or pass?
Just one quick thing. A couple of the starts last week that hit. And again, just a reminder, we ended up saying start Kenneth Walker, who went off, top 5 running back. We said to start Puka Nacua, end up having another good game, especially in PPR, double digits. We said to start Jaylen Warren, also had almost a better game than that of Najee. And then again, Kirk Cousins said to fire him up against the Chargers. Guys, he is performing out of his mind. So for me, guys, pay attention to what we're saying a little bit and don't be afraid to plug and play like what we're saying, because we're actually putting into practice and it's working out. And so just try it. Let us know what you think. And shout out to a few of you who keep commenting on YouTube. I love it. The questions being asked and even saying I'm full of shit. Bring it on. I love it. And so keep the questions coming. Keep the shit talking coming. Keep the praise coming. We love the engagement from you guys. This is so much fun. We have so much fun doing this day in and day out. And we love hearing from you guys. So good luck this coming weekend. And I really hope that you guys take into consideration some of these smashes and some of these passes.
That's right. Yeah, reach out to us. We love that you guys do that on social media, on Instagram. Reach out to us, ask us starts and sits, ask us questions, give us a trade. I love evaluating. Frankie and I are crazy about trades. We love evaluating those. Give us a shout before you push a button on the trade, and we can give you some feedback on that. But that's Instagram at Frankly Fantasy Football, and of course on YouTube at Frankly Fantasy Football. Please make sure you subscribe to YouTube and smash the notification bell. It'll let you know every time we have an episode coming out. Stay tuned, guys. Next week, we'll be back here for you on Wednesday. We'll be reviewing. Let's see how we did with our starts and sits, and we'll be doing that in our Ice and Fire segment. See how everybody did for the week. All right, everyone. Have a wonderful week. Frankie, good luck to you in your leagues this week.
Good luck to you, sir.
All right. May the fantasy gods smile upon you. Bye.